Welcome to Red Pill University. I'm your host, Joe. I am joined tonight with Mike and James. Class is in session. We have two iterations of Mike tonight, one for video, one for audio. We have learned from our past technical difficulties, and hopefully this will resolve it. All right.
Genius
so,
Chads.
Yeah. So I'm going to pop over to our thing. So tonight is all about shit tests, or what we call frame tests. They can be comfort tests. It goes in many different terms, but generally they all mean the same thing. All right. Now's the time the cats come out. Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize this.
We're going to cover the concept of testing in detail.
Yes.
STD testing especially.
All right. That's next week. Now, for the purposes of this show, because we're on YouTube and it's got a nice public audience, we are going to keep this one PG-13, gentlemen. So hence the name for frame tests, congruence tests. They're all synonyms for the same thing. Yeah. So first things first. Oh, geez. Just like that, we've got 10 viewers. All right. So, and also,
wow.
Just because we're getting started, let's throw the banners up there really quick. So drop your comments down below. We will get to them in the order they're posted after we get through the Death by PowerPoint. And it's not a long presentation. So just stick around and we will address those comments in the order that they've occurred. However, if you've got to go, if you can't sit around, you can't wait, a super chat is a good way to skip the line. We'll address those on the fly as they occur. Mm-hmm. And then, as always, hit the like button. Or what's that guy say? Smash that like button. Yeah, it helps out with the YouTube algorithm and promotes the content, and it just gets the word out and lets other people see it who really could probably use it. And
jackhammer the subscribe button.
Yes, hit that. Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is a new one. So we have created a legitimate nonprofit. This nonprofit, this charity, is our little niche of the internet that we are building out, a fraternal organization that is both a hybrid between a fraternity that you will see at college campuses or thereabouts and a fraternal order, similar to the lodge system that you may have heard of with like Kiwanis clubs or Freemasons. So this is a brand new organization, and it is going to be growing over the next year as we are trying to build our first fraternity chapter. So we need a little bit of financial support from you guys to make that happen. And again, all of the money that we get from YouTube, the podcasting, Amazon affiliate marketing, I don't know why I'm not doing this. All the money that we get through this enterprise goes to that through our donation system. So, and then that link right down below, that's how you can get to it. So it's bit.ly. Sigma Iota Phi is the name of the organization. So let's get back to the information. So what is a frame test? This is what we're going to talk about. So what is a frame test? How to pass these tests? Why women test men? And what's not a frame test?
That's so key. I think that a lot of new guys in particular get the question pops up, why is this girl doing this, right? This behavior is not, a lot of guys don't understand it. Its behavior is not really kind of trained, from the beginning of like, oh, this is the whole purpose behind why women do this. So we've laid a lot of that foundation of, why the mechanics of women seek out a high value man or an attractive man and what that looks for, or what they look for in that. And so this is an extension of the practical application of that piece.
Yep. All right. So tests come in many different shapes and sizes. Again, to test your frame or congruence. The three biggies that I think this came from, I don't know who it came from. The sources are down below. I'm not going to try and cite every single piece right here. So they're going to test you for dominance, compliance, mental/emotional fitness, physical fitness. Breath top, dominance. They're going to challenge your mental toughness. Compliance checks for boundary enforcement. A good example of this might be you go out to a bar together and she decides she's going to dirty dance and grind on some guy. What do you do? Well, we're going to address that. Mental and emotional fitness. Tests for social intelligence. It's also a kind of dominance test. And can you be exciting or provide comfort Again, that's the emotional / mental fitness. Remember the roller coaster of feels.
Mhm.
And then lastly is physical fitness. They might try and shove you. I've had women try to instigate physically with me in bars just to see if I would just wrap them up and shut them down. Women do some strange stuff.
They do. And this goes back to the 3 pieces of frame that we talked about, the 3 elements of frame that we talked about last week, which is physical, intelligence, mental, and then emotional.
Mhm.
And they're going to test for that to see, what your status is on all those things. They're going to test your frame.
Yep.
Yeah, one time I got some chick who I hadn't even talked to yet punched me in the arm as hard as she could. Like, just whomped me. That was pretty crazy.
It happens.
I can't hear James at all, by the way.
Oh, really?
Sadly.
James,
Yeah.
what's going on there, brother?
Wait, what do you mean?
It might be because you are muted. How about now? Can you? Oh, you goofball!
Wait.
You muted yourself. Now you can't hear anybody.
What?
All right.
So it's technical difficulties. We're not quite there yet. All right. Anyways, moving on.
Oh, okay.
So why do tests occur? So all tests. This is actually Mike's contribution right here. All tests are congruence tests. All tests are a rapport break. Now, for those that don't remember, if you skip the episode, please go back and watch that after this. A rapport break is a way to, it's break rapport. When do you break rapport? You're supposed to do it once you've built some comfort together. And then you break rapport. This is actually another term for this, okay? It's called flirting. Shit tests, frame tests are women's way of flirting with men. And a lot of guys don't get this. So right here, women who are not interested usually do not test. And I said this earlier in the pre-show. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. If they are not testing you, they don't care. You're indifferent, you're invisible to them. If they're testing you, it means that you've gotten onto their radar and they have, at some level, some degree of interest in you, and they're testing to see, what do you got? Show me what you got. It's at that point, it's your game to lose. If you're getting tested, you got your foot in the door. You just don't realize it yet. All right?
Yeah, I just don't want to confuse this with an indicator of interest, right? Just because somebody's shit testing you doesn't necessarily mean they're interested. It means they're potentially interested. If you're getting IOIs and shit tests, that's a great sign. But if some woman that you really haven't talked to that much is shit testing you, like she is immediately trying to put her guard up, right? And to see if you can get past that.
Yep. See, frame tests are often, again, women's way of flirting. And I've said it before, women have bad game. And we talked about this in the previous episodes where guys, before you can be busting on them and flirting, they've got to be comfortable with your presence. A lot of women skip that step and they just go immediately hard on you. And not hard in a good way. And now it just got totally quiet. Are you guys, you all in? Can you hear me?
Here, yeah.
All right. It just got quiet for some reason.
James, are you there?
Everything's good. Yep.
Now I can hear you.
You're just talking.
Perfect.
Now I hear a lot of background noise on James. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, women generally have really bad game when it comes to that. They skip steps sometimes, a lot of times. And for guys, it would get us blown out. Okay. They would just, no, next. Bad social intelligence. Women are the choosers in that sense early on in the interaction. So maybe they don't know. Maybe they do know they're doing it and they're just being difficult on purpose. A lot of times when they test, they don't even know they're doing it. And I can't tell you how many times where, growing up, a girl would do this sort of thing, and we didn't have a word for it back in the 90s, which we do now, thankfully. But the concept was there. Where, like, why did I say that? I like the guy. Why did I tell him I had a boyfriend? The boyfriend objection. It was a test, a frame test, to see if the guy had the gumption to kind of push forward a little bit against that barrier, that wall, to see, is it real? Is it legit? What's going on here? And the guy's like, okay, well, she's got a boyfriend. Bye. And then that was that. In reality, she's blaming herself because she realized she screwed up. So anyways, moving on. Let's see here. Psychological games. This is frame probing, wordplay. This is what most people think of when they think of this subject. The games people play. And games are supposed to be fun. So testing for mental stability, congruency, and strength of character. Strength of character is a huge factor in all of this. I don't think we really gave that enough attention. Mike, you were going to address this.
Yeah, it's we talked about it a little bit last week in terms of frame, right? Which is the three big pieces of those, and exactly what kind of women are looking for. Women, want to understand that you're going to be able to either, you know, provide resources, protect them, just that low level evolutionary biology and programming that's there. All the things that you would think of that we consider like really masculine or really alpha classically, and not the kind of modern definition that most beta guys get confused with. So those typical things, right? Like Joe has said this before, a woman can see if you are strong, right? She can see if you're a guy with muscles that works out, has been working out for years. If you're an athlete, she can see that, but she can't really go up to you and say, hey, how's your ego? Or how's your, emotional stability? Because most guys would be like, oh, my emotional stability is great. I'm the most stable guy ever, right? I don't have
in the
any ego
history
at
of the
all.
world.
Yeah, like whatever, they're just gonna say whatever they want, whatever they think they want to hear. Women can't just come up and ask you that. So what do they have to do? They have to tease you, right?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of falls into like how everybody should test everybody. I
Oh,
mean,
totally.
most of the shit
Just
tests
my
that I
finger
have
here.
passed come from other guys, especially in the gym. So I mean, it's like everyone wants to test everybody to make sure that they're the character, like classically survival based group tactics, so that you're not a bitch and you won't bitch out when the shit hits the fan.
I think it's that, but I think it's also like this. These can be status checks, right? Like, do you have a decent lifestyle? Are you a cool person to get to know? So if a guy's shit testing you, and you laugh about it and you joke and you guys, have this kind of rapport that you set up, then like, hey, that's a guy I want to go out and hang out with or have a beer with, like
Yeah,
that's a
when guys
potential
do
friend.
it, yeah, it is. It's that challenge to see, is this guy, you're feeling each other out. It's just this playful busting in a sense, where you're just kind of, it's that it's a battle of wills in a sense as well. We talked about frame control last
It
week.
can
but
be frame competition,
It
but when
can
there's
be.
when there's no ego involved and your ego is in check, what's really interesting about that is it becomes just a bonding mechanism, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
that get it just accept it and they laugh and they tease back and do that stuff. But guys that have an ego or just get really butthurt or really like a lot of insecurity,
Or a very low social
yeah,
intelligence.
that's what I'm saying. Like a lot
yeah,
of insecurity. Maybe they're just they are on the autism spectrum, and I mean that
could be.
literally.
Yeah.
And they don't get the nuance and the social cues. So guys like that, it's like, oh, okay,
Oh.
you're not. It's almost like
Yeah.
you're not speaking my language. Does that make sense?
All right. Let's see. Is there anything else on this slide? Yeah, absolutely. So testing for mental stability, yes. Manifest as insecure questions, aka rapport breaks. Do you always talk to people like that? These insincere questions are what I was talking about with the typical. They almost come across as curt. They're questions that you would normally not ask people if you don't know them well, and it's almost dismissive in a lot of cases. I'm thinking more towards like bar game clubs where you don't know them and they're right up front. They put the walls up. And you got to bust through. You got to bring your A game. You got to be able to handle this barrier in a sense, and just you got to play the game. So, any other comments on this last piece right here before we move on?
Move on.
Alrighty. All right, bringing up a new little feature here. Bro tip of the week. So we've talked about this in the past. Sausage to success, aka running the gauntlet. The link is down below in the description. And in that video, I will just summarize it right here. We've talked about this before. So if you are out with the boys and you want, oh, hey, Plumber, thank you. You're out with the guys, you're in a bar, you're in a club.
Cha-ching.
What you can do is, let me throw this up here. Bing.
The Plumber's making me feel like a hot e-girl.
There you go. We're the ethos
Or at least
of the,
Mike.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah.
Mm.
That's it.
All right. So let's just go through the bro tip really quick here, and we will move on.
Running the
All right?
gauntlet. Let's talk about
Running
what
the
running the gauntlet is.
So running gauntlet is a really cool way. It's fun as hell to build status and raise your social proof. And all you do is you guys take turns. If you've got a couple of friends, a couple of wings, and you're going to bring a girl out, you have your friends go out ahead of you. You let them know where you're going to be, and then they take turns coming up to you and saying, "Hey, Joe. Hey, Mike. It's great to meet you. I didn't know you were going to be here. Great to see you." And they're just excited to see you. You BS for a minute. They peel off. Another minute or two later, another friend comes in, and he does the same exact thing. And you repeat this through your friend group, all boosting up this one, the one guy whose turn it is to run the gauntlet to sausage to success. And if you do this right, I can guarantee you his social proof is going to be sky high to the point that the woman's wondering, who the hell are you? And not like, is this guy a serial killer? Like, holy shit, I landed a celebrity. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really fun. Link in the description. Go check it out.
And this is what you should be doing for your friends naturally. If your friend is bringing their prospective girlfriend or girl that she's been dating for a little bit, or girl that he's been dating for a little bit to the bar, and you are meeting her for the first time, you should be complimenting him. You should be building him up. It doesn't hurt you to do that.
Indeed. And David, thank you very much as well. All right. You guys have questions? Any questions? No? All right, moving on.
I don't have any questions.
Make sure I didn't skip ahead. There we go. Frame text. So this is where we're going to start discussing how. So we've already talked about what they are, why they occur. Now we're going to kind of dive into what to do. And you cannot see me because I have the wrong screen up. Damn it. So yeah, we talked about what shit tests are. We've defined why women do them, sometimes without even realizing it. Sometimes they regret when they do it. Now we're going to address how to react when you receive one. All right. So really quick summary right here. Agree and amplify to absurdity. Change the subject. Ignore her test completely. The pressure flip. The nuclear option. Command respect. Fogging. Broken record. And negative inquiry. Let's see. So agree and amplify to absurdity. Now I'll make this full screen because this is a little bit harder to read. So I really like this one. So whenever they say something and it's that negative kind of connotation, you just agree and you amplify whatever they said to just an absolute ridiculous level. They know you're playing. You know that they know you're playing. Everybody's having a good time. Again, it gets back to flirting. You're responding to their rapport break with what really is a rapport break of your own, and you're having fun. Again, the roller coaster of feels. This is really my favorite one because it really tracks to Cocky Comedy, PUA David D'Angelo from way back. And it's legit. It was something that I was doing naturally anyways, almost to a fault. But yeah. Enough about me. How about you? It's non-reactionary. It's really powerful stuff that you're not going to get frazzled by their test. You're going to have fun with it, and you're going to go on a journey together as you kind of role play this ridiculous situation out in real time. Changing the subject and tone again, or changing the subject and ignoring them. That's self-explanatory. You just
laugh
ignore.
And smile. Laugh and smile.
Pressure flip. This is one I think I actually came up with this years ago. So
if not, you're going to take credit for it anyway. Why not?
Why not? If somebody else originated this before 2009, let me know. But this is when I came up with this concept or started using it. So the pressure flip is where you're not only fazed by the test, you flip that sucker around so fast that you put the onus on them. And you got to be quick-witted to make this work. So if a girl asks you, I got the example right there, what kind of car do you drive? If you, oh shit, I drive a little crappy car. Now I'm in my head, I'm thinking, what do I tell her? Or do I try and brag? You rattle off whatever POS you're driving and you put the onus back on her. Chevy, how about you? And you non-reactive, you answered the question, but in such a matter-of-fact, direct way. Now she's like, oh, crap. Now I got to answer the question. And in a lot of cases, they might stutter. They might actually get hung up on it because they're not expecting this kind of like immediate reversal. It's a little linguistic jujitsu there you can use on them.
I call this kind of hitting the ball back. Like most people in conversation just want you to hit the ball back. And if they're asking like, what do you drive? And you drive the most boring of cars. You drive a Toyota Camry. You just say like, oh, I drive a Camry. What do you like about cars? Right.
Yep.
What do you like about, what kind of cars are you into? It's just like literally just hit the ball back. That's it.
So, and actually I can remember now when I had the aha moment, just like the concept, what was it of, I just went blank. It was the other concept, the door and the. Oh my god! I just went blank. So, anyways, Singles.
back
Was
to
it singles? The
Run-
one with
run it.
John
You talking
Favreau.
about-
No, not singles. It was the
Swingers.
Swingers. That's it. They had this whole scene where John Favreau is trying to explain. He's talking to the girl. She's hot, and she asks him, "What car do you drive?"
Yeah.
That's where this came from in
Yeah,
1994, 1995.
That's right. That's right.
So that's why I take ownership of this one. Damn it, because that's about when I came up with this, like 99. We were watching it again at the dorms. I'm like, this is like just answer it, just go past it.
Yeah, just blow right past it. It's not important.
Yeah. So, and the other concept that I was thinking of was branch swinging. That also came from a movie from like the late 80s, early 90s. We kept seeing the comment. We keep seeing this observation. And I'm like, but that's what he was just saying. It's just women are like monkeys. They swing from tree to tree. They don't let go of one branch. They got a firm grip on the next. That was how the concept of branch swinging was born. I stole it from a movie years ago, like over a decade ago.
But getting back to frame testing.
Yeah. So pressure flip, awesome way to handle it. Flipping the script, kind of the same thing. It's all it is. Just hitting the ball back to him. I like that. Fogging. This one is actually I did not expect this one. This is all you, Mike.
Yeah, so these three are, and I'll be honest with you, these are really tailor-made for if you are not just meeting a woman for the first time, if you're an LTR, or if you're married, if you're from an MRP side. So these three are from When I Say No, I Feel Guilty, and this is what we talk about when we say how not to get manipulated 101. It's just assertiveness stuff, which is essentially, if you want to fog, it's a little bit of you're kind of ignoring it, you're changing the subject, but what you're doing is you're just kind of acknowledging that they're saying something, or you're acknowledging like, hey, I can see why you feel that way, or I can understand, the circumstances that would have led to how you feeling that way, or maybe you're right. It's possible that you're just accepting the possibility there's some truth there. What it allows you to do is just you're saying, hey, I hear you, I understand what you're saying. I don't know that I accept all the criticism, and allows you to just remain your own judge. Broken record, I think this one is useful in a lot of situations, even if you just met a woman, right? If I think I gave the example a couple weeks ago about I was at a work function and some young woman came up to me and was like, hey, I want to sit there. You should definitely get up and let me sit in that seat. Like, I'd like that seat. And I was like, no, I'm not getting up. And this is a situation where you're not in a relationship. It's obviously a first time interaction, but you can just say like, I'm sitting, no thanks. And you can just say it over and over and over and let them get all hopped up on whatever it is that they want to get frustrated about. But you can broken record it to death and just repeat over and over. No thanks, I'm sitting.
That overlaps with compliance testing.
That chick wanted to bone you so hard.
It's kind of like in the work sphere. So I don't know that that's necessarily true, but if it's true.
Don't
if it's true, it doesn't matter.
I'm not saying do it, but it is true.
No, I'm married and you don't want to dip your pen in the company ink, so it doesn't matter for me. But yeah, if you're a guy and a woman comes up to you like that, according to James,
right,
she's into you.
This is for teaching. This isn't about you, Mike. I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Well, now I will say this: whenever you are out in a social setting, and there's a bajillion people that people can talk to, logistics, the whole nine yards, it goes back to proximity. If they chose you to address, there's a possibility of interest. So assume the sale, okay? Just assume that they're talking to you because they're interested. If you do this, you're going to be way better off in the long run. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. More often than not, they are talking to you because they were interested. So it's the same thing when you go to a bar or a club, you're going to be with your friends, hanging out wherever. There's the entire venue, okay? The whole place could be empty. And they're going to park their butts within 10 feet of you for about 60 seconds. Usually the girl that has her back to you was the leader of their group who called, okay, all halt. They stop, they post up, they give you 60 seconds to approach, and then they move on. It's the same kind of concept. If she could have asked anybody in the bar what time it is, or if she can use that chair, or blah, 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 9 times out of 10, it's because she was interested in you. And guys just don't read these things. So assume the sale, assume the interest, at least.
Right. And especially when she walks up to you and tries to bomb you with a pretty wild shit test after never talking to you before. I mean, that's pretty much, that's like goes beyond assuming the sale. That's like sold, signed,
delivered. Yeah.
You just got to sign on the dotted line. Let's go, baby.
Like I said, the game is yours to lose. All you got to do is just show some social intelligence and, hit the ball back to them.
That's great.
All right, we got I think
But
one
Mike's
more
married.
slide.
Yeah, no, it
right.
doesn't matter for me. And then negative inquiry,
man.
I'm not going to do it justice, but go read When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. If you're in a relationship, negative inquiry is super helpful because what you're doing is you're just kind of entertaining their criticism, and meaning like you're literally just listening to them, and you are kind of asking pointed questions to get to what they want. Like you didn't pick up the milk on the way home from work, and it's like, okay, are you upset because I didn't get the milk, or are you upset because you feel like I'm not listening to you and I don't care about what you say?
You make them
That's
rationalize
what I'm saying. Yeah,
their disagreement.
and if they are rational and they stay on point, and then you can actually convey some meaning back and forth. And if not, and if they do the Bill Burr thing, which is just like, oh well, you're a premature ejaculator, and da da da. It's like if they just start going off point and just start nagging at you, you can kind of you can do the other things like just ignore them and use mastery, just nuke whatever. But if there's something to that, if there's actually a legitimate criticism there, negative inquiry is going to help you differentiate the BS from what's the real problem.
Now, kind of to piggyback on that comment, this is something I came up with. I kind of stumbled into a long time ago because I was in a relationship with a BPD, and it was a nightmare.
Oof.
What ended up happening was I developed this just through trial and error, and it was simply put, the cat missed my camera. Simply put, is the how would you feel if ... It's a pressure flip. So whenever they come at you with this whole nagging kind of thing, and you're getting this negativity from them, you just flip it back around. How would you feel if, when you got home from the store, I immediately got on your case about milk? And then you make them rationalize how they would feel. You're getting into what we talked about earlier on in the series. You're using emotive language, and you're connecting on an emotional level. Once you can get them to communicate with you on an emotional level, you're going to find that you're going to cut right through all of the verbal BS very, very quickly. And you're going to get to the root of the problem in a much more concise manner. But you've got to tap into them emotionally in that sense. Because like I said before, women are way more emotionally clued in than guys are.
Yeah.
So if you can start to elicit and get on the same page, I hate to talk about that book. It was the 5 love languages. It kind of tracks to that in a sense. So what she's talking about when she's nagging may not be the same language you're using. So you kind of got to get on the same page. That's all it is. That's all there is to it.
You know how much I hate the love languages. But no, you're right. There's a way to actually turn this stuff around and use it to your advantage, which is really what passing a shit test is. So I want to make a quick point here about these strategies and how we kind of implement them. The whole key, I mean, maybe we can talk about it a little bit later in the presentation, but the whole key to passing a frame test is essentially, did I remain in my frame? It's not necessarily did I get the result I want, but if you're only taking a results view, then you're probably missing half the picture, which is, essentially all of these have to do with you staying in your frame and just not getting rattled by them. Every single one of these strategies involves you not getting rattled, just staying in your frame.
All right.
Something that I thought of, we were talking about manipulation earlier. A really good way, a way that I found at least that really works for me personally is when to prevent women from manipulating you or trying to manipulate you or bullshit you or whatever, like trying to trick you in any way. Yeah, you call it out specifically, not what's the word? Not covertly. Overtly, right. There you go. You overtly call it out every single time it happens, and eventually it just stops. Like I'll just say like, don't try to like she'll say something that's complete bullshit, and I'll just be like, don't bullshit me. Like every single time it happens, and like it works because I can identify it every single time. So if you feel that you want to try that and kind of
you're kind of skipping ahead. You'll see what you're talking about. We address in just a moment.
Oh,
absolutely. This is the what? Let's go ahead and just do it.
Yeah.
This is commanding respect. That's all it is. You call out a negative behavior immediately and you just nip it in the bud. Sometimes you just gotta call them out and just handle business.
Well, so, James' point is a little bit different. So there's outright disrespect, but there's also just literal nonsense. right? So just calling
Right.
BS on absolute nonsense. Sometimes they're disrespecting you, sometimes they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I agree that you should nip, nip disrespect in the bud for sure.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just talking about just like kind of the way that women like to communicate. If you can sort of clip that off, so it's not as exhausting trying to figure out if she's bullshitting you all the time. If you just like every time it's easy to see, you just like be like, don't bullshit me.
Gotcha.
Just generally, it's like
Yeah,
it keeps it just like it's nice.
If she
Hard
says
to
things like,
explain.
if
but
she
it's
says
nice.
things like, I'll give you an example. If she says things like, "Oh, all my exes are crazy," it's like, no, you're the crazy one. Everybody else, don't bullshit me. You're the crazy one. And if you can say that to a woman and stay in your frame, then you got it made, you guys.
Yeah, that's some it is written kind of quality game right there. All
I've
right,
done that.
so yeah, it's tough. Not a lot of guys have the gumption or the frame to make that work. They're going to end up, and you know what happens? They end up deering.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So,
yeah.
got to avoid
Oh, yeah.
that.
We've all done it.
Yeah, yes, we have. All right, nuclear option. Now, this man, oh man, oh man, oh man. If you go the nuclear option, all right, you've got to be prepared for the fallout. You mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns. All right. So the nuclear option is when you destroy their self-worth. It says right here, you basically disqualify them as a sexual object, being, whatever you want to call it. You're saying you are not worthy as a sexual partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the harshest rejection a woman can get. Go back to the old videos we talked about before. So much of a woman's personality or ego is wrapped up in being sexually attractive. It starts early on with these teen magazines, Cosmo, all these checkout magazine, checkout store or grocery store magazines at checkout. It's all the same crap. Look sexy, do this, do this. It's all about being attractive. If you go in and you say you are not attractive, not only not to me, but to anybody in some way, shape, or form, if that's the subtext you're conveying, dude, you're going to wreck her life. You're not going to ruin her for night. She's going to go home and like just be messed up. That's very, very, it's not cool. But sometimes you got to defend yourself. So that's where we're going to get into this.
Here's a lot of guys are confused about what the nuclear option exactly is. So I'd like to clarify this for a second.
All right.
The last or third to last bullet there, you are nuking their ego. You are literally attacking their ego. And if you feel uncomfortable about it, let me tell you where we got this strategy, boys. We got it from women. Okay. How many of the guys on this stream that have been or watching the video as it's posted later have been in a long-term relationship with a girlfriend and they had that woman completely attack their ego and just destroy their self-image and make them feel terrible for literally whatever reason? That's where we got this strategy, guys. And there are reasons to do it. If a woman is absolutely trying to emasculate you, and I don't want to skip ahead to the last bullet, but there are extreme situations that require you to respond with just like, you know what? F that. Let me just go to town on your ego.
And that being said, usually if you're getting to the point where you need to use the nuclear option, it's because you screwed up earlier on in the interaction. 9 times, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, but often, not always,
a lot of the time.
but often. Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. A lot of times you messed up.
Yeah.
So it gets, you're getting to that last bullet here. So it's reserved for only when they are truly being terrible people to you. There's no redeeming qualities here. You go for it. And like I said before, if you do, be ready for the fallout. And I'm talking, they might get physical. They might be throwing drinks. They might be out there keying your car. If it's a girlfriend, who knows?
This is when you have your drink thrown in your face and
or you end up with a bunny boiler situation. That's a whole nother scope. But
what
I've
is
seen
a bunny boiler situation.
You've never seen
That's
Fatal
kinky.
Attraction?
Oh, Fatal Attraction. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Goes way back. I'm dating myself. All right.
Yeah.
So and you do it because you've got to protect your reputation. Law 5, 48 laws of power. Your reputation is
Key.
maintain it, guard it with your life. All right. Let's see here. And we'll do a quick actually we already did it. So if you guys like this kind of content, please hit the like button down below. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Smash that like button. Really, just
No, really. Post
Really
look,
get in there on that thing.
get
Yeah.
it. Just go to town on that like button. But no, literally, like it does help the algorithm. We want to get the message out, but also you'll get notified of the next video. That's always helpful. There's going to be a lot more videos than just RPU in the future. You know, we want to expand to some other stuff coming up here soon. So definitely, keep track of that. I would highly recommend, consider becoming a Patreon. If you are watching this stream every week, you should be on the Patreon because we're putting out a lot of good content that way. And lastly, go through the stuff in the description. Go through the videos. Maybe consider getting on the Discord and chatting with other guys that are going through, running game or trying to manage their, girlfriend problems or their life problems or their weightlifting problems or whatever it is.
Yeah, we've got mentors across the spectrum of our community. Everything: finance, business, entrepreneurship, fitness, game. What don't we have? I think we got it all. I mean, dude, we got an entire style. Dude, it's awesome. It's
Cooking?
great. Yeah. Cooking, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we haven't really, we're starting to get some uncharted territory and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it's really fun the way it's coming together. But there's the little commercial break.
Yeah,
There
I
you
mean, it's literally, if you're stupid if you're not doing it. I'm not afraid to say that because I'm literally like all of the experience that I've gained, hard work over the years, I'm just giving out for free on this subreddit. I don't know why.
But not
on this
subreddit, it's on
Discord,
the,
so-
Discord.
On the Discord,
And
Discord,
not just James, a lot of guys.
and not
Yeah.
just me.
So, and for those that don't know, we do have a private Discord. Anybody can participate. You don't have to pay.
Mhm.
But for those that do, we have a lot more to the server that we unlock that you get access to. $5 a month if you're doing a recurring donation or a premium supporter on Patreon. Either way, you get the unlock and you
premium
get full
stuff,
access. So, and we also do watch parties and we do recordings. We make commentary tracks, and you get audio access, or you get early access to those as a supporter. So, and then we also do random coaching. We also do private coaching. None of this costs. It's just the $5 a month to support us. That's it. That's yeah. And again, this is all going to the nonprofit. All right. We're not making any money out of this. This is all for the nonprofit. So eventually we can, anyways, go watch the video. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
We still
Moving on to
haven't
the
really
comments.
made any money.
Yeah.
I
That
think
is
we're still
true.
negative.
But that's all right.
I think we just crossed into the positive because we had a good month on Amazon affiliate marketing. That's the only reason why.
Sweet.
So yeah, cat, stop it. All right, so moving on, commanding respect. We started to talk about this. I'm going to full screen this sucker because this is an important one. All right, this is especially important for the kind of testing where they're being an annoyance and generally disrespectful. This is where they're trending towards bad girlfriend or bad wife territory, and you've got you're disqualifying the objective or the objection. You're trying to course correct the relationship. And you can do this. You absolutely can do this by being honest and upfront that you do not like whatever they're doing. You call them out on it, you correct it, done. You move on. You don't dwell on it. You don't do like what a lot of women do. 10 years ago, you said this at that party. No, you don't do that. You don't bring this crap up once it's been addressed. All right? Anybody else have comments on this? Again, you be firm. And I like this concept because it actually adds a bit of a playful vibe to it where you treat her like the dad addressing the daughter who's being disrespectful. It's like, you got to have that vibe. You don't get angry. You don't get mean. You're just almost aloof in a sense, but you address the issue. You've got to address the issue and you've got to stand up for yourself. Again, it goes back to frame. All right. See it. Yeah, it is a type of pressure flip. You guys have anything else? Because we kind of jumped ahead a little bit earlier.
No, I said what I had to say about this. I mean, I
All right.
guess.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, moving on. And this is coming up. This is actually the last slide.
Mhm.
So hard frame enforcement. This should be your ideal option for anybody you want a sexual relationship with. Hard frame enforcement. This is a Mike edition.
Yep. This is a slide that I wrote. So there's a difference here between the hard frame enforcement and soft frame enforcement. And I've talked about this with a lot of guys on the Discord. When you talk about, outside of women, right, that you're trying to, game or get in a relationship with, people are gonna test your frame. It's inevitable. Like your boss, your family, your friends, like everybody's going to test your frame at some point. And so when you consider, Jack 10 of Hearts over on MRP. Oh, thanks, David Olivera, for the contribution. Over on MRP, Jack 10 of Hearts was a guy that wrote a ton of great stuff. And he has this interesting saying about people will be more likely to step into your frame if you don't present it as a steel cage of submission. And that's, I think, a really cogent kind of approach to when you are I hate to use this term of projecting frame, but essentially when you are interacting with anybody else and they're testing your frame and you're trying to remain in your frame, there's a way to actually do that and not be super black and white about like, hey, I'm done. I'm out of this interaction. I'm going to get out of here. If you are that black and white of like, I'm not going to tolerate this, a lot of this manifests. You guys have all gone to Ask TRP, and how many of these posts where a guy asks a question and guys in the comments, like one after another, will just go, hard necks, bro. Don't tolerate that shit. Fuck that bitch. Get rid of her. Like you can't do that. You can't do that in every single situation. You just can't hard next your parents. Right? Like if you're a young person that's living with your family, you just can't go tell your mom to, piss off down the road. So what do you have to do? Right? It's like you have to have some practical options to assert your boundaries without escalating the situation, without making it worse for you. And there's some ways to do that. I call that soft frame enforcement versus just, I'm not tolerating this and you can go, screw yourself. So what is soft frame enforcement? 4 different things. Time boxing, which is super helpful. That's you're setting aside time to do something. I have talked about the stop go game in conversation before on previous RPUs. What this is basically, you're asking me to do something. I'm going to do that. Whatever you want me to do, I'll comply with that, but I'm going to do it on my time. Right? That's like, hey, can you pick up the milk on your way home from work? Yeah, I can pick up milk, but I am working late. Like I'm going to be working late tonight and I don't have a problem picking it up, but I'm going to get home late. And if you need the milk sooner, you're going to have to go get it. Right? For the milk example. Finding workable compromise or common ground. Look, there's a little bit out of scope for RPU, but when you have a meeting people in the middle approach, or at least saying, hey, can we agree on this? Can we at least be respectful to each other? Can we agree about being respectful to each other in this conversation? That's a soft frame enforcement. Like I will proceed if you meet my terms, which is just respecting me. And that's it goes to the 4th point here, negotiating terms for moving forward. The 3rd one is communicating your objectives. And I have this great thing that I always think about when I'm in these Crucial Conversations, which is another great book, Crucial Conversations. But communicating your objectives is, what do you want out of this conversation? Right? If you're having a real intense conversation with your girlfriend or whatever it is, your wife or your family, friends, and things get serious and it's tense, maybe there's your self-respect is not necessarily in question, but it's tense and maybe there's some conflict. Communicate your objectives. This is what I want out of this conversation. What do you want to get out of this conversation? That's the soft frame enforcement. I want something. I want to get closure. I want to get clarity. I want to be heard. I want to be understood. I got something to say. Communicate your objectives. Super simple.
All right. Well, let's see here. We have one last thing to do, a little bit of housekeeping. I have been neglecting it this month, so let's go ahead and bring this up. July 7th. All right. We have our shout out to our Patreon supporters.
Yeah, some of them are on the stream too, I think.
They are. So let's go ahead and just get right to it. Let me go ahead and bring up the July donors. Crow Colt Cowboy, Reese, Koza, Liam, The Lion, Blue Lion, John Diamond, Tublerone, Kieran, Daniel, I'm not going to say your last name in case you don't want to post it out there, John, Mr. Roz, or M-R-A, I don't want to say your last name either, Mars, Major Charisma, Fat, and Inletum. Thank you all for your support. Now, once we get the legalese worked out in terms of donations, if we turn it over to a 501c3 charity, where then those donations become tax deductions to you, I would prefer you guys slide over so you get the benefit if you're going to be a long-term supporter, because why not? Otherwise, if you're comfortable with Patreon, stick to it. If you do want to donate and hit us up on the link down below, then just know that recurring monthly donors of the same amount, $5, $10, whatever, you're all going to get the same benefits as our Patreon premium supporters. So you get full access to the Discord. You get early access to our additional content. All of this stuff's included, all right, for our donors as well. So we're just trying to funnel everybody over there because it's a little bit easier for us in terms of housekeeping. But you don't have to do that. If you want to go over to Patreon, go to Patreon. You know, it's your prerogative. But again, all the money that we do collect from Patreon does now go to the charity. All right. Do we have any other? And yep, that is it. That is the end of the slides for tonight. James, any additions?
Boom. Nope.
All right. So we are going to now go to the comments. You thought we were done, but wait, there's more. All right. So we're going to go back to the comments. And then don't forget, also, we're going to be over on Discord for the after show. Technically, I'm already in the room. So yeah, we'll be there shortly. So if you guys have questions about the show, comments, concerns, anything you disagree with, or comment or things to add on that is not in the comments here, come on over to Discord. We'll talk about it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of you, we got to talk to you because we got to get your mission, your goals, your purpose, how you define yourself. Those are the big questions that we're going to get into tonight. All right.
Yeah, what are you doing to work on this stuff that we're talking about here? Is what we want to get at.
All right. So I think I already addressed Gilbert's question. Usually it's about 45 minutes, which we just hit.
45 minutes. Oh, we're an hour solid.
Well, we
2
have
hours last week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Questions. We actually got a lot of questions. I like this. A lot of comments. So are you guys jackhammering the subscribe button? Hopefully you are.
You should be doing that.
And hitting the notification bell. If not, Low Gains will curse you for 5 years. I like it. If you haven't been fitness tested, she'll kick you in the nuts.
No.
Sometimes figuratively, sometimes physically.
You haven't been fitness tested until she's kicked you in the nuts, is what he's saying. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
I love it. You're not an alpha until you're being kicked in the nuts, guys.
That chick wants to make sure you have hard balls.
Oh, man. Mark, sorry to hear that. Yeah, come on over. We can dissect it a little bit, maybe give you some tools to kind of give you come on over to the Discord for the after show. Dude. If you're around, we'll talk about it.
Post in the comments how you flamed out on that one. I want to get to this. This is super important.
Yeah. And jackhammer the like button.
Yeah. Hit that like button. Post how you screwed up on passing shit tests.
All right. So for the podcast folks, okay. The Plumber Speaks, his comment was, all a woman really wants is to know that you can take care of her, that she's going to test your mettle before she really needs to see if you're the real deal. Yeah, that's what frame tests are. They're that's probably the shortest abbreviation we can give you.
Yeah, I mean I agree with the plumber here, and I don't often disagree with him. But one thing I would add, it's not a disagreement. Yeah, she wants to know if you can take care of her, but she also wants to know, do you have a strong mission that's not centered around her? Right. Yeah,
it kind of goes back to what Mystery used to say way back in the day when, my God, this is 10, 12, 15 years ago, somewhere thereabouts. And he gets into the evolutionary psychology of it, or at least the theory of evolutionary psychology behind it, that in the old caveman days, if you can't protect her, some other guy's going to either kill her, kill you, kill the babies, take your food. Something bad could happen. So you had to be able to defend her and the baby from the big bad world. If you can't stand up to her, how can she expect you to defend her from what else is out there? That's the theory behind it, the hypothesis, I should say. But yeah, the general consensus, I think, is agrees that there's some element of that at play. But as we've just shown, there's a whole lot more to it than that. Let's see here. So the like button is shit testing you. Pass it by clicking that shit. Yeah. Let's see here. Plumber, thank you again for the donation. Let's see. Alpha, welcome. I didn't catch you earlier. Do men shit test each other to have an idea of where they themselves lie in the dominance hierarchy relative to each other? Absolutely. We talked about this during the stream. A lot of it is to test and see if a guy is worth on the same page with them as far as socially. If they're on the same caliber, same league, game knows game, right? Iron sharpens iron. Guys test to see if somebody's on their level. That's all it is.
Yeah,
so we bust on each other because of that. That's what it comes down to.
Watch the stream. We shit test each other all the time. I think James shit tested me twice in this video. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so.
I love you, buddy.
I'm not trying to fuck him if that's what people are thinking.
PG-13. PG-13.
Not yet. Not yet.
On this also, Alpha, men, there's a lot of studies that say that men set themselves up into their own dominance hierarchies, so that women don't have to. Mm-hmm. Women don't have to pick the dominance hierarchy because men already do it. That's one thing that I noticed when I started getting big, is that other dudes would just like defer to me, and I thought it was very weird. Like at first, very strange. Like we developed this theory called the swole radius, and it's the bigger that you were in the gym, the further the radius around you it was that people would ask you if you're using that equipment. Mm-hmm. So like people would ask us like if we're using some piece of machinery 3, maybe 4 stations away. Like obviously we're not using it. It was very nonplussing.
I love that. The guys across the room. Hey, bro, you using that?
Yeah.
The whole gym between you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. The swole. What was it again? The swole quotient.
Radius.
Swole radius.
You gotta write that down. You gotta claim it, dude. Otherwise, somebody will just walk around 5 years. Yeah, I invented this.
Otherwise, Joe's gonna steal it. Next week, he's gonna steal it. I invented the swole radius.
Hey, I developed this concept.
All right, so Flip River. Speaking of hot e-girls, do you guys have OnlyFans we can sub to? No, but we do have a Pornhub account. Yes, there's a Pornhub channel.
Yeah.
I actually do think Mike should start an OnlyFans of him shirtless working out.
Yeah,
people would pay for it.
Someone out there in the world would pay for it.
They would.
There's an audience for everything.
Most of these guys would pay for it.
Nothing but dudes on that OnlyFans. Nothing but guys on that stream. I love it.
All right. So Flip River. Yes,
Stay
Mike
tuned.
is working as we speak. Yeah. Very exclusive. Okay, so here we go. Become a Patreon subscriber, and I will send you. Oh my! Here we go. See, there it is. Mike's going to send you his workout videos.
Mm-hmm.
So Zode can confirm source and subscriber. Alpha, I think
he's got pre-access.
Yes, he does. So Alpha 001, I think that men do try to attack insecurities of other men, whom they doubt are more alpha, and arrange themselves in a hierarchy of their own in their own heads, depending on how the shit test was dealt with. Absolutely,
100%.
Dude, that's the human condition.
Me.
We absolutely judge each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's just human nature. Whoops. Let's see here. The plumber speaks. Agree and amplify. Her. What kind of car do you drive? Me. What's a car?
I love it. I love that so much.
It just takes whatever she's asking. Just
car.
You crumple that up and just throw it over your
rode
head.
here on my horse. What are you talking about?
Just go straight to absurdity. It's always fun.
Yeah. That's why I call it game. It's supposed to be fun.
These comments went off the rails tonight. All right. James, sorry, dude. I don't speak that way. That was the plumber. All right. Daft Drunk. That's a great name. Oh, great name.
Yeah.
Daft Drunk. James the comedian. Yes. Flip River. All right.
James got jokes, man.
So the chair story reminds me of something I saw 2 days ago on the beach. A jacked guy was working out with a weighted vest, and an old woman kept yelling at him to put on a mask.
She just wanted to fuck him.
Karen wanted to get down.
Oh, the Karen.
She was horny.
Yeah. So he just kept ignoring her for like 10 minutes, pretending not to see her. Eventually, she gave up and left. Sometimes that's just the way you got to do it. Just pretend they don't exist. Just ignore it. Otherwise, if you start addressing them, you give power to whatever it is that they're trying to nag you on.
Mm-hmm.
So just ignore it. So James, what's up, guys? We have 16 views, but 13 likes. Oh, this was you. Okay. Thank you.
James, first of all, can I just call myself out here? I actually have on my other screen, my other computer, I'm watching the stream. so I can comment, and I haven't
Mhm.
liked it yet. So I'll do that now.
Wait, what the fuck?
You got to do it.
I
You got to
didn't-
get that
I-
1
man.
year good
I
luck
know,
if
I
you
didn't-
don't.
I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't like the video. I don't pay attention.
Alright. That's fucked
So,
up, man.
There
Alright,
it
so
is.
Holy shit, we've got 21 thumbs up now. This is it. This is what I live for.
Straight to the top, boys.
So-
Straight to my veins.
Flip, you've got a great little quote there, a little saying. You ask, I smash.
Bam.
That's
I
right.
like it. All right. Alpha. Yes. Yes, James, it is Alpha. Okay, Master Duelist. Key Duliski. All right. Messed up so bad. I want to know what you messed up, dude. Was this
I
the
think-
one from before?
I think this is a comment on the convert. So I was talking about every guy has had a girlfriend that has tried ego destruction, tried nuking your ego, and that's where we got the strategy. The nuking it came from women, and
Alright.
I think that's what his comment was about. It messed me up so bad. But if I'm off base, post another comment down there and just be like, Mike, no, you're an idiot. I meant this.
All right. Flip River. Don't know your names, so I'll just use a generic you. Guy in the red cap. He's talking to you, Mike. Would love to hear you explain at some point why you hate the love languages.
All right. So the love languages. Here's my main problem with the love languages. I pulled them up in anticipation for this question. And when you talk about words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, and quality time, all of that breeds really bad behaviors in terms of attractiveness. It's beta game, big time. If you
Beta
are,
bait. Yeah.
it's beta bait. Yeah. If you are giving out gifts to women that haven't earned it, right? Like that's absolutely this is the wrong kind of game. Acts of service, you're going out of your way to give them your time and attention, and you're a time hoe. If acts of service, unless I'm talking about if you are in a serious relationship and she's earned her place and she's earned right if she's invested in you and put in that effort and she's part of your mission, she's in your frame, and it's her birthday and you want to give her a gift, like fine, yeah, great, I get that. I'm not saying gifts are bad, and I'm not saying the love languages are useless. What I'm saying is guys read this and they think, oh, words of affirmation, I should just kiss her ass and give her validation. Acts of service, I should do whatever she asks. No, because when it's a compliance test, she will be less attracted to you. Right.
Yep.
So it's all beta bait, other than, physical touch, right? Which she wants you to do
that one-
Kino. It's Kino. Do that.
Yeah. That's
Totally
the only
do that.
one I've ever really found useful and it tracked to something that I identified with. And I suspect it's something that most guys find tracks to their own way of with women as well. The physical touch, the physical acts, that's what I think what a lot of guys key in on. I know I do.
Mhm.
So I'm curious about that. It's a really interesting concept. I don't think we've really talked about in detail. So yeah, definitely. If you're watching the show, post down in the comments down below if you are more of like a physical guy or if the other love languages really work for you. I'm going to bet dollars to donuts. Most guys, the physical aspects are what they're going to key in on.
I hate the love languages so much for that reason. Like it's guys that don't have all this underlying understanding will take it and they'll just completely do it wrong. So here's my caveat. If you want to read the love languages after you've read and implemented the sidebar, like knock yourself out. But if you are introduced to the love languages at some point and you read through it, guys, just set that book aside. I don't care if your wife or girlfriend wants you to read it, set that one down, go through the RPU videos, read the sidebar, and then come back and go, hey babe, you know what? I finally read that book. Here's what I got from it. Or whatever you want to do at that point.
Just chuck it in the fireplace.
Yeah, honestly, like you probably shouldn't even read it, but legit, like all of those are beta bait, and that's just one of the major problems I have with it.
Now, sometimes these books are good to understand because you can kind of see where women are coming from, even though it's full of holes. It's Swiss cheese.
To be clear, I'm not saying don't ever give words of affirmation. I'm not saying don't ever do acts of service or don't ever give her any gifts at all. I'm not saying that they're not, something that can be used to have some.
I'm thinking about like Art of War, know your enemy kind of concept.
Yeah. I'm saying is if you're gonna even consider doing stuff like that, make sure you have a strong frame first, and that way it'll seem special and relevant and meaningful.
Well, that's true. A lot of the rules of thumbs that we tell guys new to the community: you don't buy gifts, you don't take them, you don't. For example, in a bar, you don't buy them a drink, make them earn it. These rules of thumb, they kind of go by the wayside just like with these love languages, they go by the wayside when you've gone through this full holistic self-improvement process. Once you've come full circle and you take off the training wheels, okay, now you can kind of start breaking the rules. You buy the drink because you're going to have fun. You can do different things. You can read through, get through the BS. You know if they're going to stay or not.
You can see
In
the
this
code in
case-
the matrix, and you've got a strong frame.
Exactly.
And you
Yeah.
here's the most important thing: if you've gone all through all this stuff and you know what works for you and you know what doesn't, right? Like if you ignore 25% of what Joe and I told you, but the other stuff works, then you know your mental model and you know what works for you, and you can say at that point you are capable of saying, you know what, words of affirmation don't really do me a disservice. Like I can totally give my girlfriend validation. It's not a problem for me. Great, dude. Like go do that. Knock yourself out.
Yep.
So I think I beat that to death. But yeah, I hate the love languages.
James even said it. His love language is hating the love languages.
That's it.
The plumber speaks at Flip River. Okay, the love languages is blue pill as FK. It's all female thinking, completely opposed to masculinity and getting her sexual best. It's all beta bucks type chore play sex.
Mhm.
James at the plumber speaks. I think all of the other love languages are a Trojan horse to validate the chore play love language.
Yeah.
You guys had a nice conversation here. The plumber speaks at James. Dude, don't try to speak her love language. If you express your love language and you are the alpha in her life, she will love it.
My love
And
language is oral, so
Yes.
that's what I like to use.
you've got it when she buys your food. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Buying I don't know if that's a metaphor or like buying food. Okay.
It's a metaphor for sex.
I gotcha. Let's see. I'm just messing around. Not every moment is teachable. Yeah. Flip. Okay, so those are fair explanations. I feel like it'd be strange / unhealthy if your girlfriend's love languages weren't quality time plus physical touch. Those are like the cornerstones of relationships. Dude, I read you.
Mhm.
There are some women out there who don't get aroused until they're already having sex. There's a little something for everyone. You know,
You got to get them going. Yeah.
sometimes. So it's, yeah. Anywho, the plumber speaks at James. Maybe I'm not talking to you specifically. There are many others that will read this interaction in the future.
Mhm.
And James, well, it makes our interaction weird.
We can just skip over the sidebar stuff, the sidebar to the side conversations.
Yeah, we don't need to read all this stuff.
I'm not reading ahead. I'm just click go. All right. So Flip River. Although I've had a girlfriend before who said hers were quality time plus words of affirmation, if he remembers, I ended up giving her too much validation because of that.
See,
Yeah.
there's exactly the example of what I just described, and I didn't read this question in
Yeah.
advance.
Yep. Yeah. So, and Plumber makes this point. So at Flip, yeah, if her love language is gifts, she's a gold digger.
Dude, go get yourself a sugar baby, plumber. It's no big
Yeah.
deal.
So, and then David, how do you know if you pass the test?
I love this question.
Good
I
one.
love this question. A lot of guys will think it's up to the woman. Guys, it doesn't matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter. Don't look at her behavior to decide if you pass the test, right? All she does is write the test. That's it. She doesn't grade the test. And I mean that in a metaphorical university sense. This is Red Pill University. So she writes the test. She writes it, just passes it out to you, and you grade your own test, meaning she wrote it. She didn't know if you were even going to, you don't even have to take the test. You can ignore the test. But if you decide to engage, you go back, and the way that you know, hey, grade yourself, and you figure out, did I remain in my frame? That's the one question you need to ask yourself. So if you're unsure about that, go back and watch last week's episode on frame and start putting that to use. And when you get a shit test in the future, you can say like, hey, did I handle this well? Well, I think this was absolute nonsense, so I dismissed it, or I just laughed about it and I didn't take it seriously. Then you pass that test.
In general, you'll know if you passed it if you're having a pleasant conversation and it continues. That's just about it. If you get a lot of the kind of the bar style frame tests, if you fail, they're going to leave. Their friends are going to come along. Hey, we're going to the bathroom, and she's like, bye, and she will walk away with them. If it's in a relationship, it's going to be probably a continuation of nagging. there's going to be a downward spiral, and eventually you guys will break up.
Mhm.
Let's see here. The plumber. How do you know if you've passed the test? You'll know when her panties are on the floor. Of course, that's a plumber answer. Yeah,
Boom.
it's not wrong.
Not totally wrong. No, not at
Yeah.
all.
So I think that's all the comments for now. It's just cracked an hour into the show. One last call to action for those likes and subscribes, and to head on over to the donation. Link is down in the description.
Yep.
Or Patreon, your choice. We're trying to ramp up our conversion ratio just a little bit. Like I said, we're trying to drive funds to the fraternity to get this thing going. All of your support helps. If you can't do a monthly thing, that's fine. I think the minimum donation is like $5. That's a meal at McDonald's, which you don't need to be eating anyways.
Don't be eating McDonald's, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to conclude today's show. We are going to head over to Discord for the after show. All right.
Right on.
So any last and any alibis, last comments, thoughts?
Smash the subscribe button.
Love it.
Jackhammer the like button.
That's
There
it.
you go.
Subscribe to the Patreon. Subscribe to
Join
the YouTube
Join
thing.
the Discord.
Join the Discord.
Yeah, the Discord's awesome. You don't even have to pay, dude. Just come on over. We got the proving ground. You got the Q&A section. There's a lot of good information, and I wish people saw how much happens
Mhm.
behind the closed door in the wider community, because it is amazing.
You know what we should
So-
do? We should do the live Q&A on Discord and record it, and that can be a smaller segment.
Interesting. And then throw that up onto YouTube.
Throw
Let
that
them
on
see it.
YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you keep it for the Patreons first, and then we'll release it later.
Obviously. They always get that weekly. Yeah.
But guys,
So
thank you for the contributions. Thank you, Plumber. Thank you, David Oliveira.
Indeed.
Look, this helps get the message out, guys. We're not, we all have day jobs, so we don't need this. We're setting our time aside to do this, and we appreciate the engaging questions. I mean, they get better every week.
Yep. And more. I love it. There's a lot of questions. It's awesome. I'm glad we're back in track. All right, guys. So with that, head on over to Discord. We'll see you there. Bye.
Later.